Grappler fans. I've got a few potential buyers for my 68 Mustang, and I think I'm going to go take some more pictures for them because they've been asking for specific pictures of underneath it, certain places. So I'm going to fire this thing up, get on the road, see if we can't get some more content for y'all about this beautiful classic car. If y'all like the Bronco, make sure you check out the video series that I did on it. I've already reviewed it and also taken the top off and kind of showed how I like doing that. And we got caught in the rain going to an Alan Jackson concert, so a pretty decent video about that. Not a ton of y'all have watched it yet, so make sure you check it out. I know this Bronco is cool, but not a ton of people are looking for Bronco content, I don't think, right now. But I love this thing, my wife loves it. This is a cool car, so make sure you check out those videos. But let's get to the Mustang. This is going to be 10 things I hate about my 1968 Ford Mustang. I just bought this thing, making a few videos about it. I do plan on selling it. It's a pretty nice car, but there are a couple little quirks with it. And right off the bat, the first thing that I was going to mention was I can't get the thing to start right. It's carbureted, it's got a choke, and in my 68 F100, I had to pull the choke, give it a lot of gas, and the thing would fire up. Well, on this one, it has not been wanting to crank up, but as you saw today, it started right up. Well, this time, I didn't give it as much gas. I pulled the choke, gave it one quick blip with the throttle, then I turned the key, it started right up. I've been flooding it the whole time. So, it may not be that difficult. Actually, I'm just, a rookie when it comes to this car. So, that kind of gets rid of my first issue. I'll say, basically, user error. Number one thing, I don't know how to drive it. We'll say that's the first one. That brings me to my second thing, a little bit of a pet peeve situation. The door doesn't want to close right unless you slam it. I don't like slamming the door on something so nice, but these old door locks and stuff, that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. It's probably original door lock, and it's got this big old bracket that it goes onto here, and it just doesn't want to clip onto it just right. The next thing, this dang parking brake is kind of easy to forget, even though it's way out here. I left it on for a little bit last time I drove it, but the main thing is that it rolls. Now, it seems to be okay now, but let me take it off a little bit and then put it right back on. As soon as I take it off and then put it back on, look, parking brake's fully on. It takes it a while to stop, and I keep thinking I get out of the car, it starts rolling. I think it's going to roll away on me and end up in the middle of the street. Next thing, a little pet peeve while we are real close to it here. I just have this one complaint about the exterior of the car, the body, the condition of it. It's this crack in the paint right here. It's a little bit bowed out from, it looks like the tire came down, or it came down and hit the tire. You can kind of see there's a little bit of a line even in the tire. Not sure if that's why. Look, it's trying to roll again here. Yeah, look, the car's still rolling. That parking brake is sketchy. No AC. That's number 4.
2 + 2 is 4. -1, that's 3. Quick maths.
You can't expect to have AC on a mostly original-ish 1960s car unless it came with it or someone added it. Now, someone opted not to add it in this car, but it's freaking black everything, and it's so dang hot down here in Alabama, it needs it. My wife won't even ride with me in the car. I offered today to take her for a drive in it. She has no interest in riding in this car because the first time we drove it, there's no AC, I'm sweating, she never sweats, and she started to sweat a little and she was like, that's it, I can't do this. Now, that brings me to the, 5th thing? We'll go with the 5th thing. On the passenger side, which would be her side, she's not actually going to drive this thing, it's a stick, she doesn't know how to drive. This is kind of funny if with the push button handle, actually, this isn't what I was talking about, but push button handle, if you're using one hand to film yourself because you're a cool vlogger, then you know, you got to twist your arm around, but I kind of like the push button handles. I think they're pretty sweet. I'm definitely not holding that against the car. But this dang seatbelt over here, y'all saw how much trouble I had just with my seatbelt. Mainly because I was grabbing the wrong side of it. But on the passenger side, this seat belt for some reason keeps locking every 6 inches, so you can't get it out but this far. And I'm hoping to get that figured out before someone comes to look at it, because if no one's wife will buy off on this thing, like I had to trick mine into letting me get it, then I'm not gonna be able to sell the car. So I got to get it to where, you know, your wife can ride shotgun and enjoy the car. Now something is not right with this thing. I don't know what's going on. It does not want to come out. That's as far out as I can get it. It's making progress, but it just keeps sticking. Super annoying. If you're riding passenger on this thing. Let's see what else we got going on interior wise. Not much. It's freaking sharp in here. I kind of like the interior a lot, honestly. Really not much to complain about. Back to the exterior. I just popped the trunk for the first time, and I've noticed that the seal on it, the gap, is not too hot. Over here on the passenger side, you can see it's kind of sticking up, and if it got caught in the rain, it would definitely let rain into the trunk. This side, it's a slight bit less of a gap, a little bit better over there. It's kind of cool how the trunk opens though. You just put the key in right here, and then when you turn it, it pops like wide open. Probably shouldn't let it slam that high, but it's pretty unfinished in here. There's like no liner, carpet, or anything in the trunk. You can see the back of the seat. And let's make this another one. Let's say number 7. There's an amp just chilling right here.
I'm from Alabama. Can't count to 3.
I haven't even tried the radio yet in this thing. I don't know what the radio's like. I have to turn that on for you. You know, wiring and just kind of hanging out here for the tail lights. There's some wires here that probably don't go into anything. Okay, good. I was about to say, that is sketchy. But yeah, that's just some extra wire from previous owner leaving it in here. But, I mean, at least you can see everything. Everything looks solid in here. It's not rusted out. But it's just unfinished. And we got this just generic spare back here that is about half wore out. You can see here, this is where the fuel goes in. I think that's super cool about these old cars. And I showed in my previous video. We got this really cool cap here that goes to the how you put the fuel in. Pretty awesome. Definitely not complaining about that. I've heard people say it spills all over the paint, and also a lot of times, oh man, there you go, hitting my bumper. When you accelerate, it'll come out the back, but this one has a nice seal on it. I haven't seen any issues with that. I haven't even put gas in the thing yet, so that could be an issue. First time putting some go juice in it. Oh, it barely reaches. Moving on, let's close the trunk. You gotta kind of slam it too. There we go. Not too bad. So let's see if we can start this thing up and see if it starts right on the first shot again. I'll point out one more thing. Let's say number 8. The brake little pad thing is broken off. It's sitting in the garage right now. Need to either reattach that or get another one. But let me start this thing up for y'all and just show you how quick it should start up. Might make a liar out of me, but the last few times I drove it, couldn't get it to start quickly. Today it fired right up. So let's see if I've just been flooding it. I'm not going to give it any more gas. I warmed it up some. Let's see how she does. So just as I thought, I've been flooding the dang thing. It's still not the easiest to start up, but I've been pulling the choke like every time I start it because I think it needs more time to warm up. But really, it ran for like 2-3 minutes, idle down, and then it doesn't need any more choke, doesn't need any more gas. That's been my mistake this whole time. That's why I couldn't get out of that old lady's way whenever I pulled out and show you, it'll make noise, it'll bark the tires, it'll stall out and embarrass you in front of everybody. Alright, we got a cul-de-sac right here. Let's see if I can turn this little thing around with no power steering. Along it in second my GoPro died, but now after I've driven it a little bit, got it nice and warmed up, I think this thing does have a cam in it. And it sounds pretty darn good. So with that, my last and final issue with this car, I think I only made it up to 8, is that I love it. This thing, I cannot nitpick it to death because it is a beautiful car, an awesome piece of history right here. I know this isn't like anything special. It's not a fastback. It's not Eleanor. It's not the Bullet Mustang. It's not even that Trans Am that the Bandit drove from my last video. But it's a beautiful car, and I've had so much fun driving it. It's going to be a shame to sell it, but I really can't find anything else wrong with it. Let me know what y'all think, if you spotted anything. I hope this camera angle is working out for y'all. But I'm really loving this car. I just tried to talk my wife into going for another ride in it with me, but she's not about it. She doesn't want to sweat. Y'all can see I'm out here working up a sweat. But this freaking car, man, it is so beautiful. I love the 68 rear end. So y'all please comment below what you thought of the car. And stay tuned for my next video. Hopefully that will be it sold.